Hey guys, I wanted to show you guys my newest card. In contrast to the Malfoy card, I had to do a Harry Potter one. And I love this paper. I thought this was like a perfect paper for this card. I think the Malfoy one is funnier, honestly, than this, Harry Potter one, but they're still funny. And I just love the little bookmark. I don't know. I love a good bookmark. So I love a card that has a bookmark, multifunctional, and it's got a fun little sentiment on the back. Super fun. So, and these ears were actually gifted to me from my friend Judy Allen, who does adventurous stamping and Stampin' with Nana. She does crafting with her granddaughter, which is super cute, but Adventurous Stamper is her name. And she just found them and sent them to me. She was so sweet. I just thought it was the sweetest thing. It came at the perfect time, and anyway, it was just lovely. And so she got these for me. I think they're probably for Chinese New Year, I think. And but red and gold, you can't beat red and gold. So anyway, well, thanks for tuning in, and I'll get started on our tutorial now. Hi guys. So here is our Harry Potter Clipboard bookmark card. I thought that would be a fun little change up to the other card I made the other day. So yeah, and maybe I'll do better. I think I might not have described a couple steps because I got carried away. So here's our card, basic layout as I did before, but this one's Harry Potter themed. I'm using the Marbled Elegance paper, and this is on clearance right now. So if you wanted paper that had the red and gold in it, this is a good paper. There's also like pink and gold in here, tons of swirly. There are I'm gonna give you a warning. Measure twice, cut once. I was rushing and I made a mistake 2 times in a row in the same way because I wasn't paying attention. So make sure you measure twice, cut once, but that's okay. I love using up this paper. I'm sure I can find something to do with it. So this one had a little too much pink, so that's why I didn't use this one. There's another one that I used with the train car that you guys might have seen a few months ago, and I loved using this one because it had so much gold. I loved that it had so much gold, and so I used this one a few months ago for a card that I had with the train stamp set. And I just love that card. I don't know. I just love it. So we'll go ahead and we'll get started with our basic layout. So I was trying to save a little paper, and that's why I made the mistake in cutting. So my layer is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. That's my cherry cobbler base. Then I did have a piece that went all the way down here, and I thought, oh, I should trim that off and save that for something else, and why waste it, since it's going to just be under a pocket. And that's where things went wrong, because I was trying to save that tiny bit of paper. I actually made a mistake. So this is 4 inches by 3 3/4. And then this pocket is going to go right over the top, which is going to cover up any missing paper. But that's what I get for, I need to tell my friend Kathleen that I was trying to save paper. I always give her a hard time about saving paper, and she gives me a hard time about being wasteful with paper. So this is actually perfect for her. She'll love it. I need to tag her, and so she can see my mistake. She'll think it's funny. So we've got 4 inches by 3 3/4 for the designer series paper. I wanted to try and have more gold. The other piece I had a lot more gold on it. This one doesn't, because it, what fell on the sheet, but it still gives the background of what I need. And the clipboard's going to cover quite a bit, so it's going to be fine. See, if you look at my original one, I had quite a bit of gold on the back, but again, it's not like a make or break, you still get the gist of what you need. And then for the pocket, I cut another piece, and I wanted to make sure there was gold on that piece too, because depending on how you cut, you could have a piece that doesn't have any gold on it, especially on this particular sheet, because it splatters of gold as opposed to, whoa, that's a big drop, as opposed to, I'm gonna get it right off on the edge, just watch. Okay, I'm trying to keep it from going off the edge. And see, the back side was a nice cherry cobbler too. I almost used that, but I really wanted the gold foil. I feel like if I can have the shimmer, I always choose the shimmer. That's just my style. Some people like the plain side though. I know some friends, they don't like that shimmer. That's not their style, you know, so to each their own. Well, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, share, comment, anything you want to do. I really appreciate it. As I told people before, I changed over from doing the live videos because Facebook doesn't save them, and it just didn't make sense to do that. So it was like an extra added step to do lives, and then, you know, and I wasn't getting a ton of views from the lives, although I had some really great faithful ladies that always watch, and they're so good. Donna and Marsha and Nancy and Carol and like Marlene and, you know, all the ladies that always tune in. They wouldn't always watch when I was live, but they would, and Nancy, I think I mentioned Nancy, but they wouldn't always watch when I was live, but they'd watch later. So going to Facebook or YouTube made more sense. So yes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to place, and then the reels, the shorter reels, which actually I think some people kind of like the shorter reels. And I appreciate any comments on the short reels too. Comments or likes or suggestions. That's all great too. I'm not too proud to take suggestions. So this piece here is 2 inches by 4 1/4 for this pocket. And this piece of designer series paper is 1 3/4, again, 1/4 inch down and 4 inches long. Okay. So that's what I get for trying to save paper. It overlaps. This one overlaps just a little bit, like 1/4 inch underneath the pocket. But I had another piece and it was barely tucking under the pocket, so it almost showed through. So I decided, oh, I better cut another piece, and then I made all my mistakes. So then let's just trim our little whoops, our little corners. There we go. If you don't get it right in the corner, it'll give you a funky corner. There we go. Perfect. And we've got our basic sentiment. And that's it. Yeah, so we've got our basics. We'll get the ribbon in a minute. Let's do our stamping and our writing. So I'm using just a basic pen with just basic ink. Oh, and I used Tear and Tape to hold this pocket down because Tear and Tape's a really strong glue. So it'll hold a pocket down tightly. And because the Clipboard Bookmark is coming in and out over and over, it's just wiser to have Tear and Tape for your base. So now I'm going to take my notebook paper, which comes from, I have 2 pieces of notebook paper. Oh, that's what I forgot to do before we got online. Let me grab my gold. I forgot to cut out, my little clip disappeared. I had cut out several clips and it disappeared on me. So let me go ahead and cut that out really quick while we're here. There it is. Okay. And the gold is the brushed foil gold from Stampin' Up. Here it is. I just went ahead and I grabbed, oh, I can use, no, that's a silver one. So it's just a brushed gold. It's super pretty. When you cut foil, you have to remember when you're putting down, just as a tip, so when you're putting down your little piece, you're going to want to put a piece of paper over the top a scrap piece of paper over the top. Because what'll happen is the gold will take all the impressions from your die cutting machine if you don't. So I just folded a piece of paper in half. I'm gonna run it through my little machine here. This is called a stamp gut and die machine, if you didn't know. And so, let's see. And there is our die. There's our little die all cut out. So it's a pretty cool machine. It's called a die cutting machine. And this one's called our stamp cut and die machine. Just don't forget that when you have to make sure you put that foil, because otherwise the impressions, there's all these impressions on the top, on the boards, and that'll go into the foil because the foil obviously is easily marked, you know, by any kind of debris or any indentations. And so I meant to do this before I got online, but I just forgot. So there we go. We'll put that back together. So I use the note card or the note paper, and I use the clip. And the this is the new packaging that they're going to start using for a lot of our products, for our dies, and I think even our stamps are also going to come in a product similar to this, like a little envelope, so that it's not so that we're not as bulky with our products. And it just doesn't make sense to have the larger products when a stamp set sometimes is only as big as this. So why would you have a big case around it? So just so you know, that's a change that they're starting to make. Okay, now we can move on. So you got to see a little die cutting there. All right, so for the ink, I just am using a regular pen, and the sentiments I decided to use, or the checklist I decided to do for Harry is not as funny, but it's definitely Harry. So I put received letter, received letter, annoy Malfoy, solve problems with besties, that's a little long, but, and then I put play Quidditch, I hope I spelled that right, and then I put study, but then I crossed it out because he like never studies, and then I put defeat Voldemort. Okay, and I just thought that was funny. And so this is a wet, this pen is pretty kind of wet. So I want to make sure that I keep it, you know what I mean? I let this dry a second before I touch it. So let's get to stamping here. If you saw my Malfoy card, you saw it streaked a little when I did the other one, which is fine. It's not like a big deal. So I'm going to stamp a little envelope in the corner, and that comes from the Sending Love stamp set. And then our sentiment, this is actually a paper pumpkin. I told you I reuse these paper pumpkins all the time. Paper pumpkin stamps are so versatile. I just use them a lot. So this one's cheers to another adventure. It doesn't matter where you're going, it's who you have beside you. Happy birthday. And then this one says life is meant for good friends and great adventures. And I thought that was the perfect sentiment for Ron, Harry, and Hermione. Let's stamp another little envelope in the corner, and let's hope I don't smudge it. There we go. Just because there was that extra white space, I wanted to have a little envelope in the corner. All right, so now I'm gonna stamp my Life is, I'm just going to stamp it in the corner, and that leaves one, it helps me get it straight, and it's pretty straight. It's a little off. That helps me get it straight. Yeah, that's good. And it also leaves plenty of room to write a note. And so that's why I do it that way. Okay, so we've got that. So then I'm taking my cherry cobbler marker, and I'm going to take the bullet tip corner and just making a little seal on my envelope. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same here on this. You can draw like a circle. I just kind of wanted my circle to be messy, like the seal has that little flowery squish. So then I'm going to glue this down to this to make my clipboard. Whoa, Nelly, I've got a new, it's a new, let me just take a piece of trash to pick up some of this glue. I've got a new glue bottle, and it just throwing out some glue here. There we go. We don't need that much glue. All right, and so we'll go ahead and pop that onto our clipboard. And that should be good. I'm just kind of center it. I push it a little bit down. I wanted to have it centered, but there we go. Then I take a little bit of tear and tape and a dimensional. So I put a dimensional at the top here. And then I put a little piece of tear and tape down here. And the tear and tape just holds the clip end to the board. But I want a 3D dimensioned look. So yeah, I didn't say this in my other video. I think this is a much better video than the other video. So, whoops, I see some of the foam. Okay, let's go ahead and pop that down and center it. So that way it's 3D, but it's also sealed, okay? So it's sealed against the paper with that little bit of tear and tape. Now I didn't put a giant piece, I just put it off the edge, and then I folded it over so that it was nice and strong, but also sealing down the clip. And so see, it'll fit right in. And then we're gonna do our bow, which I'm using the shimmer gold bow ribbon. And so we're gonna need a couple pieces. We're gonna need a piece that goes in here. And this is, that's a little too long, but that's okay. Shimmer gold, yeah, shimmer ribbon. And this is just gold, yeah. It just was in my stash and I needed a gold ribbon. So that's what we're using. Let's see if I can get a better bow on this one than on my Malfoy card. I had a little trouble on the Malfoy card. Let me make sure it's flat on the back. It is, okay. Let's trim it. And I put a piece of washi tape on the oh, a friend showed me there's a way to do this differently, so it makes a little, anyway, the washi tape is just to hold it, but a friend showed me there's a different way to do that. I'll have to try it using a little tab when I do it. Okay, so let me take my ribbon and let me just tie a little bow. Why does that feel wrong? There we go. Tie a bow tightly. Come on. It's a little loose again. I think it's just like kind of a slippery ribbon maybe. Sometimes I can, oh, it's not too bad. It's actually pretty tight. It's actually pretty tight. That's good. It was so loose on the last one. I was kind of bummed it was so loose, but it wasn't the worst. It just, I wanted it tighter. And we'll go ahead and we'll trim off the ends here with my fabric ribbon. I started making this video the other, and I realized it wasn't recording. Okay, so then you just burn the edges a little, just because that way it doesn't fray. And you just hold the, you just hold the heat near the edge and it seals it. You don't have to actually burn the edges. So then I took some white twine and just decided to tie. And I was actually in my other video, I was talking about how I should have wrapped it around more. I think I'll do that this time. Wrap it around a couple times. Let's see. I'm just gonna pull this off because I'm gonna wind up cutting off most of this anyway. So what you do is you wrap it once around, twice around, and then tie a bow. It's way too much twine, but that's okay. Once around. Twice around. Yeah, and then we'll tie a little bow right, whoops, right now. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll tie a bow here. Too much twine, but that's okay. It was right at the end. You know how when you're at the end of the spool and you just want to use up the rest of your twine? You're like, just use it. You're at the very end. Okay, cool. Tied a nice little knot there. Yeah, that was better. I think tying the knot and then the bow is wise. I didn't do that before. But that's okay. Live and learn. All the lessons. So those of you that watched the first one are learning different things on this one than you learned on the Malfoy one. I was worried about doing the two back to back, but they are a little different, the cards. And then we can, oh, this is like a whole nother, whoops. Oh, no, I undid the bow. No, 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 come on. Come on. There we go, perfect. I almost pulled the whole bow off. Okay, yeah, that was way too much to waste, but that's okay. I already wasted all that paper, Kathleen, so I'm wasting that. So, okay, so now I'm gonna trim the ends of my ribbon here so this can be a bookmark. And then let me just trim, seal those up. And I want that to be a little tighter of an angle. And we'll just, you just hold it close and you'll see it actually seals the edge of the ribbon. You'll see it seal up. You know, you can't see it in the video, it's a little hard, but it does seal it up. I don't want to touch it because it's hot. But like on this one, it's nice and sealed and I can feel it, yep, nice and sealed. As opposed to a soft end, it's nice and sealed up. So then the back of my card, now there's a tiny bit of slack, barely any. So I am gonna pull it up a little and that pull makes the front nice and tight. This is how it should be. This is how it should have been on the Malfoy card, but it didn't. Didn't go that way, so all right, so now let's glue this down. Dang, so much glue. I have to get another piece of garbage to cut off. Just so much glue, just so much. And just so you know, a little bit of cardstock is usually enough to pull that excess glue off, you know, just to spread it. Oops, now I got it on the front because it's on my fingers. But I have a trick for that too. All right, so now press that down. I should take this out. Press that down. I should have, you can't tie, the only part is you can't tie the bow on until you're right at the end, and then it makes it kind of hard to get that even. But now for, if you do get glue on your cardstock, there's a glue eraser. You can get it off Amazon. People have told me you can also get it at the Dollar Tree. Now, some people told me the Dollar Tree ones don't work so well. That go ahead and go for the brand name ones. I don't know what brand I am using. I think this one's the one I had from Stampin' Up. But I also had another one that was from online and from Amazon. And it's in my, I think it's in my other stash to like when I go somewhere, I take certain things with me. So there we go. So now we got our Harry Potter card, but it picked that glue right up. It's just called a glue eraser, and it just picks up old glue that's dried. You want to wait till it's dry. You have to be careful when you use it on a designer series paper because the glue is pretty sticky and it can rip it. So just be careful if you use it on the front side. So there is our card. That's it. Oh, and I forgot to do the checkoff. Now for the checkoff, I decided to use Real Red for the checkoff of what he did because the cherry cobbler was so dark. It actually, you could barely see like that this was, you could barely see that this was like a list of things he was supposed to do. So it made more sense to do it with Real Red so you could see through. When I did it with cherry cobbler, I did it over here with cherry cobbler. When you can see with cherry cobbler, you can barely see the check mark list. I mean, you can see it. It's just not, to me, it's not as good. So I did it with Real Red instead. So that is our card. And I definitely think twisting it around multiple times made it a better bookmark at the top here. But live and learn. So I'm glad you guys were able to tune in and watch this card be made. So thanks for all your support, you guys. I appreciate it. And I just love being able to teach people how to do fun stuff. You know, that's it. I'm just sharing what I love to do. That's it. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.